All right, so we're diving deep today into something a lot of folks might find themselves facing at some point. The U.S. tourist visa interview.
Yeah, it can be a little nerve-wracking, right? Especially if it's your first time.
Absolutely. And today we're going to try to take some of the mystery out of it, at least that very beginning part.
Mm.
You know, those first few questions that set the tone.
It's all about first impressions.
Yeah.
Right? You want to make sure you're coming across clearly and confidently.
Exactly. And for this deep dive, we've got these two little sample dialogues. They're pretty basic, really 10 common questions you might get and some straightforward answers.
Like a beginner's cheat sheet almost.
Right, exactly. The kind of thing you might see as a starting point. But what we're really interested in is what's going on beneath the surface.
Yeah, what's the visa officer actually listening for? What are they trying to figure out about you in those first few exchanges?
So let's jump right in.
Yeah.
Okay, first thing they ask for your passport. Makes sense.
Got to make sure you are who you say you are.
Right, of course. But then, bam, almost immediately, it's, why do you want to visit the U.S.? And the answer here is just, I want to visit for tourism.
See, that's where it gets interesting. Because it seems so simple, right?
Okay.
But the officer's already starting to form an impression.
Yeah, a simple answer needs to be believable, too.
Exactly. Like, does this person actually sound like they're coming for tourism? Or is there something else going on?
I see what you mean. And just a couple questions later, they're already on to the logistics. How long will you stay? 2 weeks.
Where will you stay?
Yeah.
A hotel? Bam, bam, bam. Painting a picture of the visit already.
Right, getting those specifics out on the table, I guess, so they can check if things add up.
Exactly. And a hotel that's usually pretty straightforward for a tourist, you know?
Yeah, makes sense. And then we get to what feels like a really crucial part, the whole question of ties back home. They ask, do you have a job in your country? Yes, I am a teacher.
And that's huge. You know, a steady job back home, it tells the officer you've got something to come back to.
Yeah, you're not just going to disappear, right?
Exactly. And then, to make extra sure, there's that question. Do you have family in the U.S.? No, I don't.
Okay, so they're trying to see if you might be tempted to overstay your visa.
Right. No family here means fewer reasons to stick around longer than you're supposed to.
Interesting. And then, of course, they got to ask about money. Who will pay for your trip?
That's a big one. You have to show you can support yourself, that you won't be a burden financially.
Right. And the answer's simple and to the point. I will pay. I have savings.
Shows you've planned ahead, saved up for this trip. That's reassuring to the officer.
Yeah, you're responsible. Okay, so we're getting close to the end here. The last couple questions before they give the green light touch on your travel history. Have you been to the U.S. before? No, this is my first time.
Interesting. Sometimes a clean slate can actually work in your favor, at least at this stage. No previous issues, no red flags from past trips.
Oh, so it's not always a bad thing if you've never been before.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then the final check, do you have a return ticket? Yes, I have a return ticket.
Just making absolutely sure you're planning to go back.
Proof. They want to see that you're serious about following the rules.
Makes sense. And that's it. Visa approved in this scenario.
Because they got clear, concise answers to all their key concerns. Why you're coming, how long you'll stay, where you'll be, proof of your ties back home, and the financial means to support yourself.
So it really is about keeping it simple and direct.
Absolutely. Honesty and clarity, those are your best friends in a visa interview.
Well, this has been super insightful. But you know what? It makes me wonder, what happens when the answers aren't so straightforward?
Ah, yes. That's where things get really interesting. Because life isn't always simple, is it?
Nope. And I bet visa officers have seen it all.
Oh, I'm sure they have. So many stories, so many situations. What might raise a red flag for them? How do you handle those trickier questions? We'll have to save that deep dive for another time.
Definitely. Because that's a whole other rabbit hole.
It is. And I bet our listeners have some wild visa interview experiences they could share too.
Oh, I'm sure. But for now, we hope this basic breakdown has given you a little more confidence, a little more insight into what's going on in those crucial first minutes of a U.S. tourist visa interview.
Forewarned is forearmed, as they say.
Exactly. So until next time, happy travels, everyone.